Blues keep their Super Rugby Aotearoa hopes alive with a 21-17 win over the Chiefs. 33,000 people went out to the game, which is a pretty good looking crowd. I didn't actually go to this one, but yeah, the Blues managed to get it done. I think Chiefs fans will be pretty gutted with the team on this one. There'll be some who are a bit angry at the ref, but either way, they're still close, man. How many losing bonus points have they got now? They're not losing by much. They're coming close, but just not close enough. I'll go over some of the key events in the games. You should go watch the highlights on the All Blacks Rugby YouTube channel for sure if you haven't seen the game. Otherwise, just watch the game in full if you've got access to it, because it's a good watch. It's maybe not quite as pretty as the Hurricanes Crusaders game the day before, but it was still definitely very tense at the end. It actually started with the Chiefs winning a penalty pretty early and not finding touch, which is something they did a couple of times. And I thought Trask, although he's young, his kicking for touch is something that leaves a bit to be desired. And maybe when you look at the scoreline, the Chiefs' decisions to not go for poles several times during this game maybe came back to haunt them a bit, although it did pay off in one of their tries. But it was the Blues who opened the scoring. Duffy, it was a set play from a scrum. I thought Fane had kind of gone early. He seemed to run and then fall over before the ball had even really been released from the back of the scrum. It seemed like the Blues were kind of all over the shop, but Bodie gets the ball to Rico, and Rico's no-look pass to Duffy, sets up the line break, and he goes over. Damien McKenzie manages to flick his ankle at the end, but he's able to still just fall over the line, and Bodie coolly converts it to make it 7-0. The Chiefs actually get a good period of pressure on the Blues on around about 10 minutes, but eventually the Blues win a penalty and are able to kind of get out of jail without conceding any points, and then go down the other end. Tupolotu gets his try. The Blues go through phase after phase after phase, and it seems like every phase the Blues are able to get over the advantage line. And I've done enough videos on advantage line stats to know that it's nowhere near 100% of the time that teams usually get over the advantage line. You know, sometimes even 60% can seem like a good number, but it seems like the Blues are just always getting ahead. They're inching closer to that Chiefs try line, and eventually they get the try. So the defense is maybe one thing that the Chiefs were lacking, especially in that opening period. He's too hard to stop from that. Relentless is the word my dad used as we watched the game, and it's 14-0 to the Blues. The Blues are looking like they're going to run away with this one easy. However, the Chiefs, they don't just roll over. 17 minutes, the Chiefs win a penalty, but they turn down 3. And sure enough, it actually works out to be Boshia's try. So this is what I mean about it did pay off for them to not go for the poles at one point. But over the course of the game, you thought maybe it may have been the better option. But I guess hindsight is 2020. Boshia gets the try a couple of phases after a line-out move. I think Sam Cane kind of got dragged into a ruck, so Boshia ends up becoming the ball carrier, and it's 14 points to 7. The Blues get out of jail again on 23 minutes. Trask has got another kick, and he's going for touch. He almost finds touch, but Mark Taleo, who has a pretty quiet game to be fair, he manages to keep the ball in. He bats it back in. But Alemalo is the first man there, so he essentially sets up Alemalo, who goes to within about half a meter of a try. And eventually the Chiefs lose the ball. So that's one time. There's a few times in this match that the Chiefs will look back and be shaking their heads. That was definitely one of them. The Chiefs went close again on 27. D-Mac with a line break. And I think it was Akira who put in a big hit on Brad Weber right as the ball had come out the ruck. The ref said that the timing was perfect, so there you go, Blues end up with the ball. The Blues get warned on about 34 minutes that if they concede more penalties, there's going to be a yellow card. And this is one area, if I'm a Chiefs fan, I would probably be a little bit frustrated that the warning took as long as it did. And when the yellow card was finally issued, it was all too late, really. But the Chiefs, again, went for touch. There was a bad line out and then a knock on. So the Chiefs go in halftime, and they are behind on the scoreboard. It looked like just before halftime the Chiefs were going to try and run the ball out their own 22. I think Weber passed the infield, and then when Boshia got it, he was just like, nah, we're kicking it out because we're in our own 22. We need to go into the sheds without conceding more points. So Boshier was the sensible man. Halftime stats, run meters 108 to 198. That's the Chiefs with almost double. Possession, Chiefs 67%. Territory, Chiefs 68%. I noticed Sky stats were a bit different, but this is what ESPN had, and I felt like that was a probably fair reflection. Tackling percentage, the Blues were 89. The defense was immense. They made 75 tackles. The Chiefs were at 83%, only had to make 35, so half the tackles that the Blues had to make. How they were behind on the scoreboard seems really, I don't know, bizarre. Penalties conceded 7 by the Blues, 3 to the Chiefs. And knock-ons, 5 to the Blues, 2 to the Chiefs. How do the Blues have 33% of the ball and manage more than double the knock-ons of the Chiefs? I don't know. But yeah, the Blues, apart from that opening kind of 15 minutes, were not the best team with ball in hand. They hardly had any ball, but the defense was keeping them in the game for sure. And got to commend them on that awesome effort there. Second half, Cruden comes on. Probably a good idea. Trask is still young and he does need experience, but this was probably a game for a bit more of a steady hand, and I think he made his impact kind of early. It looked like Sam Cane got hurt as well early, but he didn't end up going off. He ended up playing the 80. 46 minutes, Ale Malo gets a try for the Chiefs. It's a scrum move. They go left. It's a line break to ALB. I think it's Cruden that sets it up to ALB. ALB's got a 2v1, and he just has to pass it to Ale Malo. Another moment that I think the Chiefs might be a bit mad at, and I'm a Blues fan, I thought it was a bit off. Not everyone will agree, but as Ale Malo goes in for the try, Caleb Clark he just falls on top of him, and he injures him. So Ale Malo has to go off straight after scoring the try. After a guy scored a try, man, just leave him alone. I know you might have been able to push him for the touchline, and maybe it's only like half a second, so it's too late to pull out of it, but I thought that was a bit off, and the ref didn't even seem to look at it, which I thought was a bit weird, because there's been other games where I've seen, maybe they've been Northern Hemisphere ones, where somebody's been flopped on top of after scoring a try and they've gotten yellow carded for it. So it just did seem a bit of a weird one. There's no need for that stuff. So they get the conversion, 14 points apiece. It was a great conversion, and it's game on. The Chiefs get a penalty on 50 minutes, so they actually take the lead, 17 points to 14. After being 14-0 down, they know all about comebacks apparently, so they go in front, and that seems to maybe ignite a bit of a fire in the Blues, because they have a bit of a comeback of their own after not being able to score any points after that initial period. They get a try through Christie. It was Tuangafasi in the build-up. Man, he was on fire today, making some big tackles and a big run. And the Blues had just gone through phases. The TMO initially said no try because he hadn't seen a grounding, and by the time he got there, it was short. But none of them had a good view of it, which was a bit disappointing, because the TMO shot seemed pretty crystal. It's a bit surprising neither of the ARs. Nobody got a good look at it anyway. So, yeah. But then, so Blues are in front 21-17. And then it's kind of all Chiefs. Chiefs missed touch at one point again, but then Plummer's exit's poor. Plummer comes on for Fa'ane, like on the last 10 minutes. The Chiefs go close on 76 minutes, and they go back for a penalty. Plummer gets yellow carded on 78 minutes. It's too late, man. The Blues have been on the wrong side of the ref all game. Like a clear try gets... I know he was on the other side of the ruck, but it gets TMO'd with the decision being, you haven't seen it kind of thing. And the penalty count, I'll get to that in a minute, but it's horrendous. But yeah, I will admit, the Blues should have had a yellow card earlier. But Plummer gets yellow carded, so that's not going to do his popularity with Blues fans any favours. And the Chiefs go close. They decided to tap it with their penalty, which was only, 7 metres out from the Blues line. They didn't want to go for a scrum, because the Blues scrum, whilst it had been under the pump in the first half, was actually really picking up some penalties in that second half. Sowakula goes close, but then the Chiefs get penalised. I think the Chiefs fans will maybe be a bit curious as to how Goodhue for the Blues managed to tackle, release, and get over the ball that quickly. But anyway, it's a penalty for the Blues. The Blues kick it for touch. They win the line out, which Chiefs fans I think will maybe say wasn't straight. But Yeah, I thought it was alright. I'm a Blues fan. What am I going to say? And yeah, the Blues get out of jail. Maybe a game they should have lost, the Blues, but they managed to win it. I was just relieved, man, as a Blues fan, to keep the competition alive. In terms of the table, this makes the Crusaders on 19 points, the Blues on 17, the Hurricanes on 16. You do have to remember that the Crusaders still have a game in hand, and they are ahead. They still have a game in hand. So they're going to have to drop more points. But yeah, anyway. It was a real ding-dong battle. Again, maybe it wasn't that pretty at times. The knock-on count, like I remember the first half was like 6, 7 knock-ons in the first half. Whereas that Crusaders-Hurricanes game had 3 in the first half. Force against the Brumbies had 10. So this game was kind of in between those games. But final stats, run meters 340 to 311 with the Blues edging that one. Possession was 50-50, territory 49-51, so pretty much even. Lineouts 7 from 8 for the Blues, 16 from 17 for the Chiefs. At least their lineouts gotten better. Tackling percentages, both sides 87%. Chiefs made 122, Blues made 111. So again, not much in it. All these stats are pretty even. Penalties conceded 15 by the Blues, only 6 by the Chiefs. So despite the Blues getting that lucky one at the end, maybe, I think overall they were under the pump from the ref. If I was going to criticize the ref, my main point would be, how is it only like once you get 14 penalties conceded, then you actually get yellow carded? Anyway, good win for the Blues, man. I'm not complaining. I am pretty chuffed. Defense was very, very impressive. At times, the Chiefs' attack did look lackluster. There you go, there's the word. I mean, when you've got 67% possession, 68% territory, and your penalty count, you're leading it, you've only got 3, they've conceded 7, you should be ahead on the scoreboard, but they were behind. So that kind of speaks to the Chiefs' attack, which at times in the first half was lacking a bit of direction. Anyway, Eklund made 14 from 14 tackles for the Blues. Heroic effort. D-Mac looked dangerous. 5 runs. No, more than that. 51 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 5 defenders beaten. He was dangerous. Had a good night with the boot. Maybe he should have been kicking for touch, man. But anyway, Super Rugby Aotearoa still going. Can somebody else beat the Crusaders? We will see. The Chiefs unlucky again. But yeah, it's been a close competition. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How did you think it went? Did you think the Blues were lucky? Did you think they were good value on the back of that good defense? Can you see the Chiefs picking up a win at some point soon? Anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.